I used to hold out hope that my boss, friend, partner, colleague would change their ways and do the right thing, which is what I wanted, in spite of the fact that they had repeatedly demonstrated behaviors that would suggest an inability or unwillingness to do so. I'm an eternal optimist, but at some point, I'm naive, in denial, and eventually delusional or downright stupid if I don't set realistic expectations. At work, we have to deal with uncertainty. Even with the advent of AI, which some believe enhances precision and predictability, we can't know exactly how things will work out, nor should we want to. That would be no fun at all. Having said that, we do want to mitigate the prevalence of unforeseen circumstances by paying attention to forces we might not always see or perceive. Hi, I'm Jenny Clark, a conscious leadership expert who spent 2 decades in executive recruiting and talent management. Having worked with giants like Google, Spencer Stuart, I discovered that the secret to transformative leadership lies in the 5 dimensions of conscious leadership. And I'm here to help you unlock your full potential. Join me on this channel as we embark on an honest and vulnerable journey together to become the kind of leader that genuinely inspires organizational transformation. I have a few ways you can get involved in this conscious community. First, I've created a free career map to help you uncover your next career move. Second, I've created exclusive content for you with a community of like-minded leaders. And lastly, I send out a free newsletter every week. To learn more, check out the description of this video. I've learned to walk into situations with few expectations. I want to know who might be at the meeting or an event. I set a positive intention or objective about what I might want to have happen for myself. But since I can't control the specific outcome, I focus less on how it will happen. I'm intentional, hopeful, and even excited about what will go down. I'm clear on how I want to show up. The rest I will leave to faith, believing that my good intentions will contribute to something good for all. Now, have I been disappointed, demoralized, devastated even? Of course. But I'd be damned if I didn't learn something from every instance. Isn't that why we're here? I usually learn something about myself, always about someone else, how to analyze factors I maybe didn't anticipate. There's always something to take away from the situation. The goal is not to be blindsided. Now, having worked in financial services, banking, commercial real estate, and professional services, executive recruiting and consulting, I had to have analytical skills, not just numerical, but financial, but situational analysis, which is a methodical look at the internal and external factors influencing your business at any given moment. There were plenty of methodologies or frameworks to analyze a situation: SWOT analysis, Porter's 5 forces, and 5C analysis, to name a few. There's also something called triangulation, which has been viewed as a qualitative research strategy to test validity through a convergence of information from different sources. Many of us, including me, do this rather instinctively. Be observant of various facts, perceptions, behaviors. Then, as you do your scenario planning, you can consider often unquantifiable, intangible, or unpredictable factors to set reasonable expectations or outcomes. This means you have to have your ear to the ground. You stay plugged in, attentive to trends and things that others might consider inconsequential. This process requires that you make assumptions about people's capabilities, their loyalties, and their honesty. Rarely do you get all the relevant facts, so you have to reach for other information, whether factual or not, to land on the most probable outcomes. Here's a story. I was part of a group that was likely going to be reorganized due to a leadership change. I had strong feelings about not doing it because I was certain that it would negatively impact the team's effectiveness. However, I knew that the new leader, decision maker, came from a completely different background from mine and didn't appreciate some of the nuances and historical context that I was aware of. I did my best to overtly, analytically, and unemotionally make my case to Rich several times. He was congenial, but impetuous, impulsive, and had something to prove. I'll go so far as to say he was somewhat insecure. Not a good combination in this context. I backed off, realizing pressure was not a good way to influence. Instead, I sought insight, then influence from others Rich worked with and might have trusted. I learned through some inquiries that my point of view was completely reasonable and probably ideal operationally, but unlikely because of personal alliances among Rich and other leaders even more senior than he was. I shifted my energy to planning out how I might operate under the new structure and protect my team from the disruption the move would surely cause. As expected, the reorg went through. I was reporting to someone who admitted he should have been reporting to me. That was helpful in the sense that he wasn't trying to use rank over me. I respected that, and we worked well together, as well as could be expected for someone who was not as expert in the space as I was. For my part, I gathered as much information as possible to test my contention as well as that of Rich. He held the cards, and though I did my best to influence him, I wasn't successful, but I established and maintained a decent working relationship with him in spite of the bad decision I thought he'd made. I also started planning my exit. For what it's worth, after about a year, what I had predicted started happening, and the decision was made to revert back to the old structure. My plan was already made, and I left before that came to pass. Based on what and who I knew, my low expectations had been met. Here's some lessons. Managing expectations and intentions in both professional and personal relationships is crucial for maintaining positive interactions and emotional well-being. So here are 5 lessons worth learning. Distinguish between intention and expectation. Intention is about your mindset and how you want to show up, while expectation is a rigid belief in a particular outcome. Practice realistic optimism. Be optimistic and hopeful while also maintaining a realistic perspective on people and situations. People don't usually change who they are. If they've always been shady and untrustworthy, you probably shouldn't start trusting them now. Set boundaries and communicate clearly. This seems basic, but not enough of us do it. Establish clear boundaries in your relationships and communicate your needs and expectations explicitly. Be adaptable and prepared. Anticipate. You don't have to have experienced this exact situation to know how to deal with it. Reflect on what is familiar and factor that possibility into your analysis. Maintain positivity without clinging. Embrace a positive mindset and let go of the need to control every detail or outcome. Some things defy logic. Don't try to blame and move on. These lessons emphasize the importance of setting intentions rather than rigid expectations, balancing optimism with realism, and being adaptable and prepared. By applying these principles, you can navigate relationships and situations more effectively and maintain your emotional well-being. Here's what I want you to take away. Life is unpredictable, and things don't always go as planned. Preparing for different outcomes can help you respond effectively and reduce stress when faced with unexpected challenges. Optimism can be a powerful tool for motivation and resilience, but it should be tempered with a realistic assessment of the facts. This helps you make informed decisions and avoid unwarranted naivete. Use all of your senses and abilities to reasonably assess and analyze people and situations, and set your expectations accordingly. I know firsthand how taking that first step can be the catalyst for a life-changing transformation. I remember the moment I decided to harness my own strengths, and it made all the difference in my career. That's why I've created a career mapping tool just for you to help you uncover your unique competencies and leverage them to design your own career map. Take the first step towards your next level by clicking the link in the video description, and let's start this incredible journey together.